This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome back to Squiz Kids, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, April 19. In Squiz Kids today, historic helicopter on Mars. Britain farewells a prince. Lions win grand final fairy tale. And penguins breathe a sigh of relief. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
One small helicopter trip for a contraption called Ingenuity. One giant leap for humankind. That's what's scheduled to take place millions of miles away later this afternoon on planet Mars, when the mini helicopter called Ingenuity is scheduled to make its first flight. You'll remember we've talked before about the Mars rover Perseverance, and how it's up on Mars as we speak, roving around collecting rocks and looking for signs of life. Well, it took with it a little helicopter called Ingenuity. And after a weekend spent testing its rotors, which are the blades that spin and make the craft fly, scientists are preparing for Ingenuity to take its first flight into the Mars atmosphere this afternoon. The flight is expected to take no more than 20 seconds and see Ingenuity hover about 3 meters above the surface of Mars. So, given it will only fly for 20 seconds, and then only to a height of 3 meters, why is it such a big deal? Because, if successful, it will be the first time humans have achieved the miracle of flight on a planet other than Earth. The flight is expected to happen around 5:30 p.m. this afternoon, with video of the flight expected to reach Earth and be broadcast sometime tomorrow. But just think, when you sit down to dinner tonight, a little bit of history will hopefully have just been made on Mars.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed at Windsor Castle, just outside of London, where the eyes of the world were focused over the weekend for the funeral of His Royal Highness Prince Philip, also known as the husband of the Queen. As you may have heard during the holidays, Prince Philip passed away peacefully at home at the age of 99, only months shy of his 100th birthday. He and the Queen have been married for 73 years, which is really something. Because of the coronavirus and restrictions on gatherings in the United Kingdom, the Queen could only have 30 mourners at the funeral. A mourner is what we call people who attend a funeral, and mourn is a word that means to show sorrow for someone when they die. The Queen, Prince Philip's children and grandchildren, including Princes William and Harry, were all in attendance, coming together to celebrate the life of their husband, father and grandpa.
Sport time!
Last year, the AFLW season ended without a winner, because coronavirus. This year, though, it ended with a fairy tale on Saturday, when the Brisbane Lions defeated the Adelaide Crows by 18 points to claim their first ever premiership. More than 22,000 fans packed into Adelaide Oval to watch the home side fight valiantly, but finally go down to the visitors from Queensland, who won by 38 points to 20. It was third time lucky for the Lions, who had been in 2 previous grand finals but never won. And the victory was made even more sweet for the Banana Benders by the fact that in the past couple of years, the ranks of the Brisbane Lions have been targeted by other teams poaching players, which means convincing them to swap teams and play for other clubs. It was a good weekend too for the Lions men's team, which smashed Essendon by 57 points in wet and wild conditions at Brisbane's Gabba. Good weekend overall to be a Queenslander.
Animal Kingdom.
There's a large colony of penguins in the Antarctic breathing a massive sigh of relief today following news that an iceberg the size of a small country, which was heading towards their home, has broken up into hundreds of smaller icebergs and no longer poses a threat to them. The iceberg, called A68, broke off from an enormous ice shelf in the Antarctic almost 4 years ago and was slowly making a beeline for the penguins' home on the island of South Georgia. Scientists were worried that if the iceberg, which had an area of 6,000 square kilometres, remained intact, it could block the penguins' route to their favourite fishing grounds. And that could leave a lot of them hungry. But the ocean waves and warmish temperatures coming down from the Atlantic did their thing and broke the iceberg up into many smaller bergs. Penguin bellies will now be full. Everyone relax.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What's the name of the helicopter that is scheduled to fly on Mars this evening? That's right, it's Ingenuity. Question number 2. Who was the royal family member farewelled at a funeral watched by millions around the world over the weekend? You got it, it was Prince Philip. Question number 3. What's the name of the team who won the AFLW Grand Final on Saturday in Adelaide? Yeah, it was the Brisbane Lions.
Shout outs.
It's April 19. On this day in 1770, Captain James Cook first sighted the coastline of Australia. Also, on this day in 1984, Advance Australia Fair was officially proclaimed as Australia's national anthem, and green and gold were announced as our national colours. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Jacob from Fairfield Heights, Penny from Shoal Bay, Chase from Invermay, Thea from Panania, and Patrick from New Gisborne. And because so many Squiz Kids celebrated a birthday over the Easter holidays, we can't fit you all in today, so we're going to spread them out over all of this week's episodes. Do you reckon we should crank out the old Squiz Kids birthday reggae tune? Yeah, go on then. The first batch of belated Easter birthday shout-outs go to Rose from Brighton East, Riley and Max from Craigburn, Caitlin and Junad from Sydney, Stella from Sprayton, Key from Fairfield Heights, Toby and Lockie from Shoal Bay, Zoe, Emily, Branna and Leo from Brisbane, Cobus from Ithaca Creek, April from Mortlake, Isha from Wentworthville, Dot from Pascoe Vale, Summer from Albany Creek, Spencer and Lewis from Mount Hawthorn, Evelyn from Brookfield, Tilly from Tintinara, Isabel from Bowen, Luella from Coogee, Lachlan from Geelong, Emma and John from Port Punka, and Ellie from Mona Vale. Happy birthday one and all. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out. Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.